The bride's lament. In the sleepy town of Ravens Hollow, an aging widow named Margaret lived alone in a once grand Victorian mansion. Her days were spent in quiet solitude, haunted by the weight of a terrible secret she had carried for decades. As the years passed, the ghostly bride's mournful cries began to reach Margaret's ears, a chilling reminder of the past she longed to forget. As the cries grew louder and more insistent, Margaret found herself consumed by guilt. Desperate to make amends, she resolved to uncover the truth about the ghostly bride's tragic past and find a way to lay her spirit to rest. Margaret's journey led her to the dark corners of Ravens Hollow, where she delved into the town's shadowy history. As she unraveled the tangled threads of the bride's story, she discovered that the line between the living and the dead was not as clear-cut as she had once believed. The ghostly bride, it seemed, had been a young woman named Caroline, who had been cruelly betrayed by her husband and his lover, Margaret's own sister. Devastated by the revelation, Margaret realized that her family's actions had not only sealed Caroline's fate, but had also set in motion a chain of events that would forever haunt their descendants. As the veil between the living and the dead began to blur, Margaret discovered that her own fate was inextricably intertwined with the ghostly bride's. She realized that Caroline's spirit had been drawn to her not only because of their shared history, but also because Margaret's own soul was burdened by guilt and longing for redemption. Determined to break the cycle of suffering, Margaret confronted Caroline's spirit, revealing the truth about her family's betrayal and expressing her deepest remorse. As she tearfully begged for forgiveness, the ghostly bride's anguished cries turned to a mournful lament. Recognizing that the only way to find peace was to atone for their shared past, Margaret and Caroline's spirits set out to right the wrongs that had been committed. Together they embarked on a harrowing journey to confront the dark legacy of their families and bring justice to those who had been wronged. As the sun set on their final act of redemption, Margaret and Caroline's spirits found solace in the knowledge that their actions had set them free from the bonds of guilt and sorrow. As the ghostly bride's lament faded into the night, the spirits of Margaret and Caroline found peace, finally able to rest in the knowledge that they had atoned for their past. In the years that followed, the tale of the bride's lament became a haunting reminder of the power of guilt and the redemptive nature of forgiveness. As the people of Ravens Hollow looked back on the events that had unfolded, they understood that the line between the living and the dead was not as clear-cut as they had once believed, and that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit could find a way to heal and find peace. The cursed camera. Emily, an aspiring photographer with a passion for capturing the beauty of the macabre, ventured to the ominous Blackwater Lake on a late-night expedition. As she snapped photos of the moonlit landscape, she unknowingly captured the ghostly bride's image on film. Upon developing the photograph, Emily discovered a hidden message, written in a ghostly script across the image. Intrigued and unsettled, she embarked on a chilling scavenger hunt through Silent Hollow's dark history, following a trail of cryptic clues that led her to uncover the bride's tragic past. The ghostly bride, once a young woman named Isabella, had been betrayed and murdered by her jealous lover on her wedding day. Her restless spirit now sought to expose the truth behind her demise and exact revenge on the descendants of those who had wronged her. As Emily delved deeper into the scavenger hunt, the clues grew more sinister, guiding her through haunted graveyards, abandoned asylums, and desolate forests. With each step, Emily felt a growing sense of dread, as if the ghostly bride was watching her every move. As Emily unraveled the bride's story, she found herself sympathizing with the vengeful spirit. In a fateful decision, she agreed to help the ghostly bride seek justice, forming a dark alliance with the spirit world. Together, Emily and the ghostly bride embarked on a terrifying quest for revenge. As they tracked down the descendants of Isabella's betrayers, they unleashed a series of supernatural horrors upon them, forcing each to confront the sins of their ancestors. As their mission of vengeance neared its end, Emily began to question the morality of her actions. The toll of her dark alliance weighed heavily on her conscience, and she realized that the cycle of retribution had only bred more suffering. In a desperate attempt to break the cycle, Emily confronted the ghostly bride, pleading with her to find forgiveness and move on from her tragic past. Touched by Emily's compassion, the spirit relented, allowing her soul to find peace at last. Haunted by her experiences, Emily put down her camera and vowed never to dabble in the supernatural again. As she walked away from the cursed shores of Blackwater Lake, she knew that the ghostly bride's story would stay with her forever, a chilling reminder of the thin line between justice and vengeance. In the end, the legend of the cursed camera served as a cautionary tale, a warning of the dangers that lurked in the shadows and the power of the human spirit to transcend the darkness. For Emily, the memory of the ghostly bride would always be a haunting reminder of the price of vengeance and the redemptive power of forgiveness. The Eerie Lights. In the coastal town of Duskoven, a group of friends gathered for a weekend of fun and excitement. During a night of storytelling, they stumbled upon the legend of the ghostly bride at the Haunted Light. Intrigued and eager to test their bravery, they dared one another to spend the night within the eerie tower, not knowing that the walls of the lights held more than just chilling tales. As the group of friends explored the abandoned light, they discovered the tragic story of its keeper, James McAllister. James had witnessed the ghostly bride's sorrowful wanderings along the shore, but was unable to save her from her watery grave. Overcome by guilt and loneliness, he eventually took his own life within the light's walls. His spirit, tormented by remorse, remained trapped within the tower, haunting the cold and desolate rooms. As night fell and the friends settled in, the supernatural activity began. Ghostly footsteps echoed throughout the light, and eerie whispers filled the air. The friends, once full of bravado, now huddled together in fear as they realized the truth behind the legends. In the depths of the night, the group unwittingly awakened both the light's keeper and the ghostly bride. Their presence in the tower had stirred the spirits from their restless slumber, and the friends found themselves caught in a terrifying dance between the living and the dead. The lights, it seemed, had become a beacon for lost souls, drawing the tormented spirits of those who had perished along the treacherous coastline. The friends could feel the anguish and despair of the spirits, their cries for help echoing through the walls of the light. Desperate to escape the haunted tower, they searched for a way to break the curse and release the spirits from their eternal torment. But the group discovered an old journal belonging to James McAllister, detailing a ritual that could help the spirits find peace. With no other options, they decided to perform the ritual, their fear outweighing their skepticism. As they recited the ancient words, a storm began to brew outside, the winds howling and the waves crashing against the shore. As the ritual reached its climax, the spirits of the ghostly bride and the light's keeper appeared before the friends. The energy within the tower intensified, and the friends could feel the spirit's pain and longing for redemption. As the final words of the ritual were spoken, a blinding light filled the lights, and the spirits, one by one, were released from their chains of guilt and sorrow. When the storm subsided and the first light of dawn broke through the darkness, the friends emerged from the lights, forever changed by their harrowing experience. The ghostly bride and the light's keeper had finally found peace, their spirits set free from the haunted tower. The tale of the Eerie Lights became a legend in Duskoven, a chilling reminder of the power of guilt and the eternal struggle between the living and the dead. And as the waves crashed against the shore, the spirits of the ghostly bride and the light's keeper found solace in the knowledge that their story would live on, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unspeakable darkness. The Haunted Honeymoon. Claire and Alex, newlyweds seeking a romantic getaway, were drawn to a picturesque lakeside cabin at Blackwater Lake. Little did they know that their honeymoon would become a chilling adventure into the unknown. The cabin, nestled amidst the serene beauty of the lake, hid a dark secret, the legend of the ghostly bride who haunted its shores. As the couple settled into the cozy cabin, strange occurrences began to unfold. Soft whispers filled the night, and unexplained cold spots appeared throughout the cabin. Claire, a believer in the supernatural, felt a connection to the ghostly bride and became consumed with unraveling her story. Digging through the cabin's dusty library, Claire uncovered the tragic tale of the ghostly bride, a young woman named Evelyn who had drowned in the lake on her wedding day. Her spirit, unable to find peace, wandered the shores in search of her lost love. Alex, a pragmatic man, dismissed the story as mere folklore, driving a wedge between the newlyweds as Claire's obsession with the ghostly bride deepened. The paranormal activity in the cabin intensified. Objects moved of their own accord, and ghostly footsteps echoed through the halls. The once loving couple now found themselves at odds, their honeymoon overshadowed by the eerie presence that haunted their every moment. Determined to make contact with the spirit, Claire convinced a reluctant Alex to participate in a seance. As they sat in the dimly lit room, hands clasped together, the air grew heavy with supernatural energy. The ghostly bride, her mournful visage flickering in the candlelight, materialized before them. Evelyn, the ghostly bride, spoke of her anguish, her longing for the love she had lost. As the veil between the living and the dead began to blur, Claire felt an empathetic bond with the restless spirit. In a desperate bid to help Evelyn find peace, Claire urged Alex to help her return a locket, the last remaining token of the bride's love, to the depths of Blackwater Lake. With trepidation, the couple ventured to the moonlit shores of the lake. The locket clutched tightly in Claire's hand. As they cast the locket into the black waters, they watched as Evelyn's spirit emerge, her sorrowful expression transforming into one of gratitude. The ghostly bride vanished, finally reunited with her love in the afterlife. As the paranormal activity ceased, Claire and Alex found their love renewed. The harrowing events they had experienced bound them closer together, and they vowed never to let fear or doubt come between them again. As they left the cabin at Blackwater Lake, the sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm glow on their newfound unity. In the years that followed, the couple would tell their tale of the haunted honeymoon, a chilling reminder of the thin veil that separates the living from the dead. And though the ghostly bride had found her peace, the legend of Blackwater Lake lived on, a testament to the power of love and the enduring nature of the human spirit. The Vanishing Veil. The small, quiet town of Harrow's End was nestled in the shadow of the ominous Blackwood Forest. Its residents lived in fear of the supernatural forces that lurked within the forest, particularly the ghostly bride, whose haunting legend had plagued the town for centuries. The ethereal veil she wore was said to grant its wearer their deepest desires, but at a terrible cost. As Miles Beaumont, a cunning treasure hunter from a distant city, had heard whispers of the bride's veil and saw an opportunity for personal gain. He arrived in Harrow's End with a glint in his eye and an insatiable curiosity, eager to uncover the veil's secrets and harness its power. Miles spent weeks combing through the town's archives, speaking with local historians and exploring the dense Blackwood forest. He pieced together a map, marked with cryptic symbols and clues, which he believed would lead him to the veil. As he trekked deeper into the forest, the atmosphere grew darker and more oppressive, the trees looming like silent sentinels. Ignoring his growing unease, Miles pressed on, driven by his hunger for power. In a hidden glade, Miles discovered an ancient, crumbling chapel, swallowed by ivy and shadows inside. He found the ghostly bride's final resting place. Her skeletal remains still adorned with her tattered wedding gown and the veil. As he lifted the delicate, shimmering fabric from her skull, a cold gust of wind blew through the chapel. But he paid it no heed. Miles donned the veil, and a surge of power coursed through him, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of dread. As he returned to Harrow's End, his desires began to manifest in twisted ways. Wealth and power came to him, but at the cost of the townspeople's suffering. With each wish granted, the veil tightened its grip on his soul, and Miles grew more monstrous, his humanity slipping away. The ghostly bride's vengeful spirit had awakened, and her wrathful energy had bound itself to the veil. As the town's suffering intensified, a small group of townspeople, led by a determined young woman named Clara, banded together to confront Miles and put an end to his reign of terror. They tracked him back to the ancient chapel, where they discovered the horrifying truth of the veil's power. In a final, desperate confrontation, Clara wrested the veil from Miles' grasp, and the bride's spirit was unleashed. Miles, now a shell of his former self, crumbled to dust before their eyes. Clara returned the veil to the ghostly bride's remains, and the spirit's mournful wails echoed through the chapel. As the veil was placed upon her skull once more, the bride's spirit found peace, and the dark energy that had bound her to the veil dissipated. The townspeople of Harrow's End returned to their lives, forever changed by the terror they had witnessed. The veil remained hidden within the chapel, its sinister power contained, but